In this video, we're going to look at PHP Session Variables. Session variable is a variable that can be carried across multiple pages. So you can see on the right hand side here, I've got my website. It's a football club. And on the home page here, we've just got a wee bit of information and then a login form. When I click on the games page, it tells me about upcoming games. When I click on news, it tells me upcoming news. And what I would like to do is I would like to have a variable that persists across all these pages that we can use to detect if the user has logged in or not. And so the information on the games page and the news page will only be displayed if the user is logged in. We also have a logout button, link that takes us to a page that just says you've been logged out. So just now, if we have a quick look at the code, I've got a HTML file with the code set up for the form. Nothing new there. And then across my PHP pages, I've got a check login page which just says login successful. So if I was to click on this login button just now, it doesn't even matter that the username and password was blank, it's just telling me the login was successful. So obviously that's not working properly. And then we've got our games page, which is just another big list of echoes, echoing the HTML for the page. We've got the news page, which is just echoing the HTML for the news page. And then we've got the logout page, which we've seen, which is just echoing the HTML for the logout page. So we need to write the PHP that goes around the core structure of the web pages. So we've got nothing to change on the home page here. The home page is set up and ready to go. What we are going to do is in check login, we need to create a way of checking if the username and password that the user's typed in is correct. And if it is, we want to save a variable that we can then use to check on subsequent pages. So what we're going to do is inside our PHP tag at the top, we are going to get the username and password from the form to start. So we're going to make two variables. We're going to have username equals, and I use post on my form because it's a username and password, so that data would be secure. So $underscore post, and the label was username, and then we're going to do the same for the password. So now we've got two variables, username and password, which will come from our form here. And now we can check them. So I'm going to use an if statement. So I can say if username equals, and this is when we'll decide what the username and password will be. So I'm going to say fan for the username, and password equals football. Now obviously this is not the correct way of storing a username and password, but we'll come to that later when we look at databases. So if they get the username and password correct, I want to display the page. So what I'll do is I'll open my brackets and I'll close my brackets around the displaying of the page there. So now it will only display the login details, the successful message if the username is fan and the password is football. So I could check if that works. If I type in anything but, I've got a blank page because I've not echoed anything else if the username and password is wrong. So that's really good. I can go back, I can check it again. So I can do fan, and I'll check football as a password. It's telling me to change my password. Don't need to worry about that. So I can see you are now logged in. So it's displaying the information. So that's really, really handy. So what we should do is we should add a wee else on here, just so that the page does display something if they're unsuccessful. So you can fast forward here while I type this in. Okay, so that's me done with that. You may have seen I went and copy pasted the link from the logout page just to save me typing it out. So if they get the username and password correct, it's going to display these details. Else, it's going to display login failed and ask them to go back to the home page. So I'll just double check that's working. So I'll log in with the correct details here. It's logged in, brilliant. So if I go back and if I change the username to something else and log in, you can see now it's telling me login failed. So our if statement's working. Excellent. So from there, we now need to create the session variable. So the session variable requires a certain command at the start of the page. So up at the top of our page where the PHP begins, we're going to say session underscore start, and that'll allow the page to know that we want to use session variables. And then if they get the username and password right, what we're going to do is we're going to create a session variable. So they work a wee bit differently. Normally you just have the $sign in the name of the variable. We're going to say $sign underscore session, and then in square brackets we're going to give the name of the variable. So I'm going to call this logged in. So this is the variable, a wee bit longer than normal, but not too difficult to wrap your head around. And I'm going to set it to a value. So because this is either logged in or not logged in, it's a boolean, it's true or false. So that's me set up a session variable, and that's it for this page. So if they get the username and password right, we create a session variable, we set it's true, and then we then display the page. So then we can go on to the next page. So we're now ready to look at our games and news pages. So our games page just now displays the data regardless if they're logged in or not. So all we really need to do is check the session variable. If it's been set, then we can display the page, and if not, display something like you need to log in. So we're just going to, at the top of our PHP code here, we're going to set the session to start. So if you say session start, that's needed on every page where session variables are being used. And then underneath it, we're going to do a wee if statement. So we're going to say if, and we want to check the variable. Now, we know that the variable is called $sign underscore session square brackets logged in. But what we don't know yet is how we can check if this value exists or if it's set properly. So on our check login page, we only set the variable to true if the if the username and password was correct. So the variable is not created under any other circumstances. So what we can do is over here is we can just check if it's been set. So at the start of it, we're going to say is set, and we use a set of brackets because it's a function. And what this is going to do is it's just going to check if this variable exists and is not null, so it has like a value given to it. There are problems around this in terms of security, but for the sake of explaining some basic session variables, it's absolutely fine to do this. So all we're doing is checking if the session variable is set. And if it is, we're going to echo the page out. So I'll put brackets around that, and then I'll put an else on. And I want to echo that it's not been successful, you must log in. So I'll very quickly do that. Fast forward if you want. Cool. So you can see me copy pasting lines there to speed things up. But If the variable is not set, so if the logged in variable hasn't been set or it doesn't exist yet, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to echo the headings again, but I'll say you must log in to view this page and give them a link back to the home page. So what we should do is we'll go back to the home page, make sure my files are all saved. Yep. And I'm going to log in. In fact, let's go to it and see if it works without. So if I click on games, brilliant. It says you must log in to view this page. So I can't see all of this information. It's hidden away. And when I return to home, I can then try to log in. So username fan, password football. Okay, don't need to worry about that. So you're now logged in. Hopefully when I click the games page, oh, what have we done there? Oh, is it because this spelling mistake here? Let me try that, save. Yeah, sorry, I'd spelled the variable wrong. Easy mistake. So now we can see that it's working. The page now displays when we're logged in. So all you have to do is now add that to the news page because it's just a copy paste effort really. We want to hide some of the information and we want to display it a lot of times. So I'm going to steal this code from the games page and I'm going to put it onto the news page. I'm going to start the session. If the variable exists, we're going to display the page. Otherwise, we're going to tell them to go back to the home page. So I will put the else down at the bottom there. And obviously the headings and stuff are a wee bit different this time. So I'll change that. The link goes back to the home page, so that looks good. So I can test that now. So go to the news page. I can see that seems to be working. Nice one. So the last bit is log out. So to log out, we've currently just got a page that echoes 3 bits of like text onto the page here, or 4, sorry. All we really need to do is start the session and then end it. So at the very top, I'm just going to say session, start, and then once the session is started on this page, we can then destroy it, which will stop it on all pages. So we can say session, destroy. And that should log us out. There may be some issues with caching and trying to move back through pages, but for the sake of advanced hire just now, I think this is absolutely fine. So hopefully this is going to work. So if I go back to the home page, if I go to the games page, I can see the stuff. If I go to the news page, I can see the stuff. Then hopefully when I go to log out, you've been logged out. So if I return to the home page, now if I try to look at games, it's telling me I need to log back in. So that's working perfectly. Check the news page, it's telling me I need to log back in. So then I can try and log in again, fan and football. Okay, and I can check the pages. Brilliant, it's displaying the text. News, it's displaying the text. And then I can log out again. So it's destroying the session. I go back to the home page and start again. Nice one. And so that's a basic PHP session variable lesson. Really, we're only doing a couple of things. We are starting the sessions. We are creating a variable. And then on the other pages, we're just checking if that variable has been set. And then when we're done and we've finished our sessions, we can destroy the session. So there's actually only a few commands to deal with it. The rest of it is if statements and trying to work around PHP. So yeah, that's it. Try and build it for yourself and see how you get on.